WGL HD3 Philadelphia. An Odyssey station. Investor Schooling Live with Phil Falcone and Larry Steinhaus on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Good morning and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. Coming to you from Investor Schooling headquarters, I'm Phil Falcone here with my business partner, Larry Steinhaus. We are the founders of Investor Schooling. Get ready to learn real estate investing and stock option trading. Call us anytime during the show with your questions at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. That's right, we're a live program, so you can call us anytime during the show, and we will take your calls. Don't even worry about what we're talking about, because we love to take your calls. Investor Schooling is located in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, serving the Philadelphia area in a real brick-and-mortar building. We are local guys, accessible to our students a minimum of 2 nights per week. If you want to learn this business, that's a business of real estate investing and stock option trading. You want to learn it from people who live it every day. That's us. So on today's show, what are we going to be talking about? A whole lot of things. Why do they keep moving our time all around, Susan? What predictions do you have for the real estate market going forward? Feel good when your stocks go up? Question mark. Use other people's money. The more debt you use, the less taxes you pay. How do you get started in real estate? We're going to talk about earned income, portfolio income, passive income, buying businesses as investments, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we're going to do all of that in 1 hour.
Can we do all that in 1 hour?
Yeah, I think we can.
All right, cool. Hey, by the way, if you guys are online and you feel like saying hi, Herb just popped up and said hi online. Hey, Herb, thanks a lot for saying hi. If you're online, please feel free to say hi. You can comment on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, and I don't even know, I think YouTube too. Yeah, YouTube. So please comment, say hi, and of course you can call in 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, and we will take your call. So Phil, what time is it?
It's 10 a.m.
Why are we here?
Because we can't get a permanent time to have this show.
So I'm thinking that we might actually have to stop doing this show if they can't give us a permanent time. What do you think?
I think they better give us a permanent time because I have had it. I'm up to my eyeballs.
Yeah, I agree. So it's very possible, you guys. Hey, by the way, thanks, Victor, for saying hi online, and thanks, Ed. But listen, you guys, this might be next to the last show. We might be doing this one and next week and then be done if they don't talk to us and treat us better.
Every time I meet a listener, the first thing they say to me is, hey, I love your show. I listen to your show all the time when I can find it.
Exactly. So just so you guys know, there you go. It may be over. We may be done. But we're pretty sure that the guys at WPHT like us enough that they're going to help us out here. What do you think?
They better help us out.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
Yeah. Pedro says he doubts it.
We're going to move to another radio station.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So let's talk about some real estate.
All right, let's do it.
Kind of a crazy market in Philadelphia. It's a similar market all through the United States. What predictions do you have for the real estate market going forward right now? Like, how is things going to change?
Well, I think this is probably the last good year. We're probably still going to have a little bit of a peak. It might even carry into next year slightly, but just be careful because we're starting to see it. We're really starting to see the economy changing. We obviously have interest rates changing. And look, I got to be honest, we have the Biden effect that's going to kick in. You know, he's been saying what a great job he's been doing for the last year because the stock market is up. But I got bad news for you, Biden. By the time you're out of this presidency, you're going to wish you didn't say it because whether it's you, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like the man. I mean, I have all kinds of great names for him. But honestly, no matter who was in this presidency, number 46, this time period, was going to have a problem with the economy because the economy was due to come down. And I would say by the end of Biden's presidency, everyone is going to be crying over the economy.
All right, so let's talk specifics, all right? Obviously, what's driving the market today is a lack of inventory.
Well, that's probably the only thing that's keeping it up. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay. And does America need 3 to 6 million more houses built? It might.
It might, absolutely.
But
sure.
then again, I also hear contradictory statements about the fact that Elon Musk has been talking about that people aren't having enough children and the population growth in this country is really dropping.
So get back to work and start having more children.
Well, I think the factory's closed for me.
The factory's been closed for me twice.
My factory's closed, so I don't believe I'll be having any more children.
Right.
But you young people out there, like our producer, in-house producer, Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro.
I got started.
You got one, but you
Yeah.
you need to have at least 5 according
First
to
of all, you understand?
according to
That's the
Elon
plan.
Musk.
That's the plan.
You got a
Okay.
mom
I'm
and a
Puerto Rican.
dad, right?
You're Puerto Rican.
You got to
that's
have
right.
2 kids just to keep things even, Steven.
Right,
Okay?
Right.
Right? What we really need you to do is maybe pump out 6 to 7 kids. That would help.
Well,
Yeah.
my grandfather had 23, so I got it's in my genes.
Do you know all of those names?
No, I don't. I've never even met like 50% of them.
boy.
I was talking about my grandparents last night at dinner. They had 13 children.
Yeah, my mom is 1 out of 12 from that marriage, and then the rest are spread out through other marriages.
Your mom was the first?
She's 1 out of the 12 from that
Oh,
marriage,
okay.
and then there's like 23 amongst other wives.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with real estate, so stop talking
Yeah,
about
exactly. We're just we're talking.
I'm
about
doing my
you.
part.
It's always about you, Pedro. Always.
Yeah.
I'm doing my
Everything's
part.
about you.
I'm doing my
really. You're so self-centered. I mean,
Yeah,
I
let's
just,
talk about real estate. So, do you know that sales in December were down 4.6% last year over year for December? But it wasn't because people weren't buying houses. It's because of lack of inventory. So, as you know, and you were looking for houses in Florida, you got into some incredible bidding wars trying to buy a house just for you to live in when you want to move to Florida.
yeah, at one point I bid $56,000 over asking price, and I still didn't get the house.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I still didn't get the house.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's gonna stop. So just so you guys know, it's gonna stop. In fact, now is the time to learn real estate investing because when you learn the techniques on how to buy them, when the market tumbles, you're going to be the only one who's going to know how to buy them. Plus, and we've been saying this for a while, have cash put aside, have lines of credit put aside. I know I've been getting lines of credit. I know you've been getting lines of credit. Have them all ready to go. And I'm talking about when I say cash put aside, I mean real cash. I mean like have a safe with $10,000 in it because if things go really bad, you'll be able to use that money to buy whatever you need to buy to get through for get through for a little while. Silver's another one. Silver and gold. By the way, silver and gold are finally moving.
But specifically, how is the market gonna change if there's no inventory? Then everything that comes up for sale is going to go up in price, right? And you're just gonna. It seems to me like unless we start building more homes, builders start building more homes. What are people going to buy? There's nothing to buy.
Well, they are building more homes. However, what's going to happen is it's going to be the same thing where the buyers are not going to be able to afford homes again.
Well,
and when they're not able to afford homes again, and you have to move for whatever reason, people move for reasons, different reasons all the time. Sometimes they move because maybe they get divorced, maybe they want to move to another state, maybe they lost their job, or maybe they got a better job and they got to move somewhere else, or maybe there's so many different reasons that people have to move. So these people are still going to be there, and the people buying their house, those people may not be able to afford that house anymore, and those prices are going to start to come down. I'm going to say that it's probably the end of this housing boom will be about probably a year and a half to 2 years from now max. However, it's 2022, and you and I were doing real estate presentations, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, and we said 21, 22. The only thing that pushed it, and it pushed the date just a little bit further, was the whole scamdemic.
So what about the all the people who weren't evicted and those landlords that weren't collecting rent for a year and a half, 2 years? Have you seen any statistics on that? And if
I've not seen statistics, but it's funny. I've been talking to my property manager. I have a bunch of stuff in Lehigh Valley, so I have a property manager in Lehigh Valley, and I was talking to him the other day, and he's funny because, now all of a sudden he can evict again. So the courts are filled with people being evicted, and the judges are basically saying, "Yeah, you lose. Goodbye. Get out." And the
who loses? The landlord.
No, I'm sorry. The tenant is losing.
The tenant loses.
The tenant, because now tenants, now it's time to pay, and they're not paying. And the tenants have been walking around like, they're strutting their stuff, going, "You can't evict me, ha 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 ha." And then all of a sudden they get evicted, and they don't even believe they got evicted. He's been telling me that. He's been doing this for 20 years, and he told me that for the first time, and it's been happening a lot, that he would knock on the door with the constable, and the people would go, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Haven't you seen the eviction notice on the door for the last 3 days?" "Yeah, but I didn't believe it." And it was bizarre. He said he's never seen anything like it. He's also been threatened for the first time, where he's actually had people pull guns, and actually people who are cutting him off and threatening his life as they're being evicted. It's a very different time right now.
Well, that usually was my most favorite part, was the final part when the constable comes out.
Right.
Right? And you get to watch them, like, walking out of the house real slow with their head hanging low while they're carrying their bags.
That's so mean.
Hey, look, when somebody doesn't pay you, that's your medicine.
Well, and we've been talking about this in class. We talked about it for years, and all of a sudden, we had this scamdemic stuff going on, and eviction moratoriums, which was against the law, the whole thing. And we've been saying, look, if they don't pay their rent, by the 15th of the month, you file for eviction, and you see how quickly they will pay their rent. All of that went out the window with this whole eviction moratorium. Now, you and I, we had good tenants. We spoke to our tenants, and I said it all the time that what I did immediately was I called the tenants. I asked them if they're okay. I had one tenant who had a serious problem, who owned a barbershop, and it was closed. You can't argue with the guy. What are you going to do? The guy's barbershop is closed, and I lowered his rent for a couple of months. He paid me the lower rent. He paid it one time late. I didn't even care. I said, "Don't worry about it." And then finally, he actually called me up. He says, "Look, I opened up my shop. I'm going to go back to the regular rent," and everything was fine. But that was the only real problem I had. But a lot of people had real problems because they didn't know how to handle it, both mentally and responsibly. And there were also programs that no one knew what to do. For the first time ever, the landlord had to apply for help from the government because their tenant wasn't paying, which blew my mind also. Where it usually is, if the tenant can't pay, they go to government programs, and the government programs kick in the money and pay for the tenant. But now the landlord was actually going to the government programs and saying, "Please pay this guy's rent for me." And the weird part was they had to get the tenant's cooperation. So how hard do you think that was to get the tenant's cooperation, who wasn't paying their rent, and they're scared to talk to the landlord anyway?
So it's funny, the mobile home park that I bought in Hudson, Florida, it's doing really well. Like 6 of the properties have all been renovated, and all the rents are now in the $1,220 range each house. So we should be grossing somewhere around like $11,000 pretty soon a month.
That's great.
From the place, right?
Yeah.
And our only problem is that several people are on like government assistance, and we made a decision yesterday that we're going to ban anybody who's getting government assistance. Because one of the problems is, in order to get government assistance, you have to have a lease.
Right.
And if you don't have a lease, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
I can take the rent. I can take the rent from $600 to $1,200 if I feel like it, and I do feel like it. Our goal, hey, look, we paid $500,000 for this place. We needed to kick off a reward. So it's not really a choice, in my opinion. It just has to be done, and it'll be done however I have the ability to do.
Yeah, you are such a mean landlord.
Okay, I'll admit it.
You throw people out, and when they don't pay their rent, and you ask them.
I throw them out when they do pay their rent because I need to. One of the things that really attracted me to this park was the fact that the rents were so cheap.
Right.
And I knew that I could change that.
Sure.
And I actually thought I wasn't going to be able to change it for 2 or 3 years. And then it was actually my manager, this woman, Dawn, who told me that if there's no lease, you can raise the rent every single month if you want to, or you
Yeah,
could
you
just,
can, technically.
or you could just
Sure.
rent it $1,000.
You have to give people 30 days notice. That's all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So once she told me that, I said, "Oh, how many leases did I have? I only had 2 leases out of the whole park. Had 2 leases, and they were both because they needed the lease to get the assistance. So the assistance isn't helping me; it's actually hurting me."
Yeah.
Right.
So all you guys crying about inflation right now, I'm going to tell you right now, as real estate investors, inflation is the greatest thing that can happen to you. It makes houses go up. It makes rent go up. Yeah, I got to pay I actually paid $100 to fill my tank yesterday in my truck. $100. And, I put the gas nozzle back, and I laughed, and I go, I wonder which one of my tenants is going to have an increase in $100 in their rent for me to pay for my gas now. That's why real estate is the greatest investment ever in so many different ways. You get the rent goes up, the price of the unit goes up. I'm doing some refis. I know you're doing some refis, and I get to take money out of these properties tax free. So I can get a check for $100,000. I'm going to hopefully get a check next week for $100,000 that I get tax free, and I can do anything I want with that money. And by the way, if you want to learn how to become a real estate investor, go to investorschooling.com, and you will definitely learn how to do it. So that's investorschooling.com. We teach real estate investing, we teach stock option investing, and we teach anything and everything that has to do with money. By the way, somebody online is saying that somebody was saying to him, he was at dinner, somebody was saying to him last night that he thinks interest rates are going to reach 8% or higher. They've reached 15% over history. What's your opinion on future interest rates, and how will the rates reach? Oh, what will the rates reach, I guess is what he's asking, right? So here's my opinion. They're not going to 15% again. 8% is probably going to be the peak. I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. I did do some charting on this, and I was looking at some charts, and I don't have the chart in front of me, so I can't quote it. But when interest rates did go up, it was a strange moment in time. It never really went up like that, so I don't think it's going to happen again. However, I do think 6, 7, 8% is definitely going to come from banks. And so be prepared for it. As a matter of fact, I've been telling people right now, if you own a house right now and your interest rate is anything over 5%, refinance immediately. Because you're not going to get interest rates of 3.5%. I just got 3.5% on my rental properties. I got 3.5% interest rate on my rental properties in a refinance, and that is phenomenal. And I know that that's going to make me lots of money in the future because I've lowered my payments by a lot.
So, have you ever read the book Real Estate Riches?
I have not read the book Real Estate Riches. Wasn't that
written by Dolph DeRoos?
Wasn't the guy Canali who used to do that?
No, not Canali.
Oh, okay.
Canali might have used Real
Used the
Estate
name.
Riches
Okay,
as
okay.
the name
Okay,
of
I
his
got you. Okay.
organization, but
Sure.
Real Estate Riches was written by Dolph DeRoos, and he's from Australia, I believe. And at one point, they had interest rates at 22%.
Wow.
And Dolph claims in the book that because the rates were so high, nobody was buying property. And Dolph claims that he was buying properties and negotiating lower prices because he was the only one willing to pay the 22%. And he also felt very comfortable that the rates will never last at that level forever. So in a couple of years, they dropped, and he now had all these properties that he bought at a deep discount.
And he was able to refinance them. That's excellent.
Right, and
Yeah,
then he
great,
refied them. Yeah,
great.
sure. So let's talk about, here's something I was thinking about when I was writing a script this morning. Do you feel good when your stocks go up? Okay, obviously, it's not a stupid question. Listen,
Right.
hear me out. Do you feel good when your stocks go up, or do you prefer the circumstances where the stock is getting destroyed? Which one makes you more happy?
Okay, so Thursday, I know you were out Thursday because you had some personal stuff going on, and all I was doing was walking around because Thursday was such a miserable day when the stock market went up 500 points and then closed down 300 points and totally took me for a loop. Well, Thursday I was throwing things at people, and then I had people throw things back at me. So I will tell you that it's a stressful when you're in the stock market, especially when you're in stock options that are timing out. Stock options are stressful, and there's no doubt they're stressful. But at the same time, we make a lot of money with stock options. We teach people how to make a lot of money with stock options. But sometimes a trade goes bad, or sometimes it's not even bad, but it looks like it's going to go bad, and it's scary and it's terrible. My account right now for this week, my account is down 30% for the week, which is terrible. But at the same time, it's not really down because they didn't sell anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So until you sell it, it doesn't come back. So we're going to get to the stock market in a little while, but this happened to be one of the. I mean, this is horrible, horrible week. This week reminds me of the beginning of COVID, almost 2 years ago when it all happened. It was right around March or April when all this happened, when a nightmare happened, and here we are. We're right there. And matter of fact, the Nasdaq hasn't had as bad of a day since March 2020.
Really?
Yeah, since that day.
When you made the comment last night at dinner about my Terry stocks going down.
I didn't say Terry stocks are going down. I just said the stock market was going down.
You said something like you're losing money. You lost money today. But anyway, I didn't realize how much it actually lost until I looked at it this morning.
Yeah, it's
and
scary,
I'm like,
right?
wow.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you have to just not look at it. Now,
Right.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen on Monday, most likely, just so you guys know. We're not even there yet, but just so you know, Monday, the morning, the stock market is going to skyrocket. Now, if you have anything that's profitable, get out before 1 o'clock. Because if it really is a bear market, and the bear market is true, usually that's what happens on Mondays. In a bear market, Monday morning, the stock market takes off because all the short sellers are selling so they can make their money, and sure enough, by the afternoon, it reverses. So watch for that. Now, this is a pivotal week this week, and I'm going to warn you that if the stock market ends next Friday lower than it is now, it's over. It is literally over. And now you have to start thinking about where you're going to make your plays. We have some earnings, some tech earnings coming up this week. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know who they are, but we have some tech earnings coming up this week. And I know Apple's one of them. I think Google's another one. And then Facebook is next week. And if those don't bring the market back, it is over. Usually January is a great month because it kicks off the earnings season.
Define what you mean. It's over. What does that mean?
The stock market's going to be around 27 to 28,000. It's where it's going to end. Probably in the next 4 months.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. What do you think of this statement? The more debt you use, the less taxes you pay.
I think I know what you mean by that question. And so let's talk about what...
I'm not trying to confuse you.
Well, you are confused because the question's confusing because it could mean a couple of different things. So when you say the more debt you use, the less taxes you pay, that could mean a couple of things. So first of all, the interest rate, you are writing off the interest. So if you have a property and you're paying and you have debt service, you get to write off the interest. So that is one way that you're paying less taxes. There's no doubt. But here's what I like, and what I talked about before. If you own a property and it has, let's say, for example, $100,000 equity, and you pull out $80,000 in a home equity line of credit, yes, you may pay 3.5% or 4% interest on that money, but if you're using that money to get something, to buy something that's giving you 7 or 8% interest, you're not only writing that money off, you're writing the interest off on that money, but you're also making money on the money, and that money that you borrowed is tax-free. So there's that's another reason why I love real estate. It just it blows my mind the things that you can do to make money and save money.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in what's going to happen with Executech. I'm working with the original lender who lent me the money in first position, right? Which was somewhere in the range of about 1.8 million. And I went back to them and I started talking to them about it. And what happened was the SBA is in second position. The SBA said he can borrow up to whatever he originally borrowed.
That's
now,
interesting.
Yeah. Now I don't really want to do that because
yes, you do. If you get a low enough rate.
Okay. It depends on what the rate is, of
Right.
course. It depends on how attractive it is. But at the same time, if I took all that money, suppose they give me $700,000-800,000 or something.
Sure.
I mean, I could go out and buy a bunch of stuff.
Well, you could pay off your other stuff, but that has higher interest rates, and
Yeah.
then refinance those.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have some options.
Mhm.
Just the question is, like, I really don't need that much. I only need like 100 or 2, right? I don't need 700-800. But however, could I find something good to put it into?
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
could.
It's funny because a lot of people think I realize you're talking about an unusual situation, but a lot of people, they come to us like, I don't know how to invest in real estate because I don't have any money. And I'm going to tell you right now, the money is the easiest thing to get. If you have a good real estate deal, I have money now. It's not even my money. I have people who want to lend me money. I don't know what to do with the money. I don't have a place to put it at the moment. We've been very busy, and I have not looked for real estate lately. And because I haven't looked for real estate lately, I don't know what to do with this money that people have that they want to just lend me. They're practically throwing it at me.
Well, I certainly think I just recently looked at the other day a 12-unit hotel. I mentioned it to you.
Yes.
Right? It's an old-fashioned Florida hotel. Back in the day, it's a one-story building with a
Sounds great.
a 30-degree A-frame roof on both sides, and it typically has well water and septic and a parking lot and maybe a swimming pool. This one has a swimming pool, and it's in fairly decent shape. And it's 12 units. So to me, it's like an apartment building.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not going to run it like a hotel. I'm not going to have somebody sitting in there like a hotel. I'm just going to find people who want to rent the units, charge them a lot of money, and cash in. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing with it. And these things are popping up all over the place. I kind of want to get this refi going, so I got some cash and then make up my mind what the heck I want to do.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're listening online, feel free to leave comments on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and even just say hi so we know you're watching.
Right.
We only know you're watching if you say hi. And by the way, if you're in your car and you want to call 855-939-1137, we'll be happy to answer your question, 855-939-1137. And you can ask anything about money if you want to call us, anything about money. We talk about real estate. We talk about the stock market. We talk about how to save money in taxes. We talk about how to make more money. We have students who come to us and they own businesses, and we talk about how they can make more money in their business. It's actually pretty neat. It's a pretty neat place. We've made a lot of people a lot of money. We got students who they had no idea how to even invest in real estate, and now they own two
mobile home parks.
It's amazing.
Hey, Larry, why don't you talk a little bit about... I got to go to my office for a second.
Okay.
But why don't you talk a little bit about, if there's people out there who want to get started in real estate, how would you recommend that they get started in real estate?
All right. Also, I want to say hello to Lewis up there. There's somebody up there that says Facebook user. I'm not sure why their name's not coming through, but whoever you are, I appreciate you also tuning in. All right. So Phil asked me to talk about how to get started in real estate. Look, I'm going to tell you, I got a method that I use that we teach our students, and it's actually we call it the wedding list. And if you're listening and you really, really want to know how to get started in real estate, I'm going to tell you that this is the greatest way to get started. What I want you to do is I actually want you to make a list of 300 people that know you, not that you know, that know you. Remember, there's a big difference. And I want you to make the assumption that you're going to get married. And I simply said to you that I would pay for your wedding if you invited 300 people to the wedding. Now, of course, if you're going to invite 300 people to the wedding, you need their name and you need their home address. By the way, their email address and their phone number is a plus, but it's not necessary. All you need is their name and their address. Now, if I tell you, again, that if you invite 300 people to the wedding, I'm going to pay for your wedding, are you going to invite your Aunt Sally from California, even if she has no money and she lives with her best friend because she can't afford her house? And the answer is yes, because I didn't say she has to show up to the wedding. She just has to be invited. So you're going to make a list of 300 people you know. Now, it's interesting. We have 3 letters. I'm sorry, we have 5 letters actually now. We have 5 letters that we would send to these people, and we could give you access to those letters if you come to Investor Schooling. But if you come to Investor Schooling, you get these 5 letters, and you're going to mail them. And basically it says, hey, I am getting involved in real estate investing, and I was wondering if you knew anybody who might possibly want to sell a house or might possibly be in trouble where they can't afford their mortgage. We can help them. And then we have these 5 letters. That's the first one. Then there's one letter that even says, hey, I want to thank you for all your support and help. I've noticed a lot of people calling me, and here's some business cards in the next letter. And when you get these letters, they absolutely work. The first time I ever introduced these letters that Phil ever saw them, we introduced him to a friend of ours who made how much money off these letters?
He bought 2 houses, and made approximately $20,000 off of both of them.
Yeah, and this was just about those letters. So it was just all he did was make the list. We sent him he signed up the letters, and it worked. And we teach this method at Investor Schooling, and I'm telling you right now, it works. It works. I've only seen it fail. Honestly, I've only seen it fail once, and I kind of questioned the person if they did it the way I told them to do it, and they kind of said they kind of sort of didn't. But it was also during COVID, so it was kind of a weird time. But that's the only time I've ever seen it fail. Other people, I've seen it work. I've seen it make money. I've seen other people get leads from leads from leads from leads, and I've seen other people buy a house after the first letter.
That's interesting.
I know you like that, don't you?
I do.
That was like one of the coolest things I ever showed you. You showed me a lot. I show you a lot. One of the coolest things I've ever shown you, and I know you actually stand by it.
Yeah, those letters are awesome.
By the way, if you want to get a hold of those letters and you want to learn more about that, you can come to a free class this Thursday night by going to investorschooling.com. So just go to investorschooling.com and you can definitely do that. By the way, if you have any questions or anything you want to talk to us about right now, 855-939-1137. I realize that, our regular listeners don't know we're on right now, so they don't know to be listening to us because Susan put us in this time slot again. So even if you've never heard a show before because you're, again, in the wrong place, right, I want you to go to 855-939-1137. Hey, real quick, Pedro, somebody online is saying that we're breaking up, so I'm not sure if that's an audio problem. Maybe you could take a listen, just so you know. All right. What else, Phil?
All right, you want to talk a little bit about the different kinds of income that I got listed on the script that you never look at?
What script? You write a script every week?
Every week.
Wait, so I just want you guys to understand it. Obviously, this is not a scripted show. What he's saying is these are topics to talk about and those kind of cool things. He's saying it's fixed now. Pedro, thanks. All right, so earned income is work. What do you want? How do you get started in real estate? Then you're saying earned income is working for you?
Earned income is you working for money.
Oh, is you working for money? Wow.
You haven't read anything in a while?
I got to tell you, if it's not on a teleprompter, I can't read it anymore.
So earned income is you working for money. Obviously, from a tax standpoint, the government's going to come and take the taxes right out of your pay. Portfolio income is from you flipping or wholesaling, etc. Maybe businesses, maybe real estate. But you can buy a business, and that could theoretically be a great investment if you've bought the right business.
Sure. And
sometimes you can even get the real estate with the business. A cousin of mine in New Jersey found a deli that was for sale. The guy was an older guy. It was just time to get out of the business. And they are loving the decision because they're making about $10,000 a week at this deli. And somewhere in New Jersey. I haven't been there. They just told me about it. And they're doing very well with it. So buying businesses is something that Larry and I look at from time to time.
Yeah, we looked at that tennis club, and that was awesome.
Is that still available?
I don't know. But, we were doing some heavy-duty negotiation on a seller finance, but the guy turned us down because, well, apparently he had another offer, but I don't know if he really had another offer. I think some people say that, but whatever. So we didn't buy it. So what? We're looking at stuff all the time. We look at mobile home parks. We look at businesses. We look to expand our business. There's always something else. Right now, I'm looking to open and buy a social media marketing business. So there's a whole bunch of things. Once you start to become an entrepreneur, your brain doesn't shut down. It's actually I love the front of your book. Explain the cover on the front of your first book.
Okay, so I wrote a book called Addicted to Real Estate, which is, yes, I'm addicted to real estate. I just love the business. I can't stop thinking about it. I don't have a choice. I don't know how I became addicted, mostly probably from playing Monopoly. But you just don't stop. Once you learn the business and you realize how much money you can make and how you're earning passive income in form of cash flow and how you're flipping or wholesaling properties and you're making extra money that way, it's just a wonderful business. It's so many benefits that you end up becoming addicted to the whole concept because you can start to see how you can make your first million, how you can become a multimillionaire. You just have to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but I was talking about how, like, my mind is always thinking as an entrepreneur. Your mind is always thinking as an entrepreneur. And the first thing I thought about was the cover of your book.
Yeah.
With you, and it looks like you and your wife on on lounge chairs.
Right. So I had a marketing guy helping me develop the cover of the book, but the marketing guy I was using actually didn't like my cover, and I didn't care. I just did what I wanted. So
That's an entrepreneur, by the way.
Right. On the front cover of my book, my wife is talking to me, and she's saying, honey, are you listening? And I'm not listening. And the balloon over my head says a $12 million portfolio with a 7% annual increase is $840,000 a year in equity. And I was making the point that, yeah, I wasn't listening to my wife. I was thinking about the fact that if I had a $12 million portfolio and the real estate prices went up 7% in 1 year, I just made $840,000. Now, I might not have a briefcase full of $840,000 in cash, but nonetheless, my net worth is now $840,000 more than it was.
Yeah, and that was the point, is that we're always thinking about, we think like entrepreneurs. You know, people are talking to us about television programs, and we're thinking about how much money we're making this week or how much money we're not making this week if the stock market's down, right? It's just what we do.
You know, the other thing on the front cover that I think is really powerful, and we should probably put this in some of the marketing material we do for investor schooling, which is why I can't stop, because I can't stop.
Right, that's right.
And why you should start.
That's it.
Real estate is the greatest investment ever. Imagine buying something, okay? Some of my best properties, I got somebody else managing both of them. The two most profitable, most valuable investments that I own, my wife and daughter run one of them. My previous business partner runs the other one. And these assets are going up in value just like everything is today with inflation. And it's just the amount of money that you could be earning. I mean, it's in the millions. I don't actually know what these buildings are worth because I haven't bothered to appraise them because I'm not selling them anytime soon. So I almost don't even care right now. Just as long as they keep running, they keep producing rent flow and cash flow, what do I care, right?
I know I recently got, because I'm doing some of these refis, because I'm trying to take advantage of these low interest rates right now. I'm doing these refis, and one of the buildings came back. It appraised for $100,000 more than I thought it would appraise for, and I thought my number was high. So it's fascinating to me how quickly these numbers are moving up.
Well, in the case of Executech, the banker that I'm working with, she said, "What do you think the building's worth?" I said, "Well, I bought it for 2.1 in 2006." I said, "You know, I don't know. You want to call it $3 million? You want to be super conservative? Let's call it $3 million."
Yeah, sure.
Right? How do I know? I mean, I'm not gonna go get it appraised because that'll be like $7,000. And you know, if I had to, I would, but I don't think I'm even gonna need to.
Yeah, you probably won't. Desktop simply can do three. That's easy. At $3 million, be easy. Desktop appraisal.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to call in, 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. We love talking to our listeners, so just call in, say hi, talk to us about what's going on in your life. And, of course, if you're online, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube, please let us know. Say hi on there as well, and let us know if you have any questions. We'll be sure to ask them over the air.
Okay, so while we got a few more minutes, this is something I was thinking about this morning. I put it on the script, which is... School teaches you to get a job that a robot will do in lieu of you.
I love that. All right, you ready? Don't send your kids to college. Just don't. Unless they absolutely want to be a doctor or an engineer or something that must have a college degree. Just don't. What a waste of money, what a waste of time, and what a ruining of their life it is when they get these student loans that are completely predatory. Did you hear this about this company, Navient, who the government was forced them to excuse or to cancel 66,000 student loans of $1.8 billion, or was it billion? $1.8 billion of student loans. They had to cancel them because the government said that these loans were predatory. How dare you lend them money? Well, hello, government. You're doing it to everyone every day. What's the matter? Somebody else put their hands in the cookie jar, and now you're upset about it?
So have you been into a McDonald's recently?
I went to a McDonald's and I ordered French fries, and it was $3.75.
Okay, have you been physically walked into
Yeah,
a
yeah,
McDonald's
yeah. And you have to
store?
use the
Okay.
you have to use the menu system.
Right. So what they basically have is like television sets turned vertically, right? And they're touch screens, and you just go and I want the fries, I want the milkshake, I want the hamburger, and you pay with a credit card, and you hit print, and it prints out a number for you, and you go back and you sit at your table, and the people bring you out the food. And it's or they might call your number and have you walk up to the counter, but it's so now a McDonald's has cut their staff in half. They still need the people to clean and to cook, but they don't need all those people at the front counter anymore because there's nobody really at the front counter except people just calling out numbers for you to come pick up your food or delivering it to you. So it's just an example of a automation replacing labor.
And that's true. Everyone will be a robot. And
Right.
it's funny because it's like a what was it? A Twilight Zone episode. I don't know if you've ever seen. So I'm a big fan of Twilight Zone. If you go back and you watch Twilight Zone, you'll actually see what's going on in Twilight Zone. What's going on in Twilight Zone in those shows is actually what's really happening in real life now.
Didn't that show go off the air in 1968?
Yeah, but that's the point. Go back and watch them.
How old are you, man?
Well, I'm 58. How old are you?
I'm 56.
I don't even know what that show is.
Oh,
Yeah.
you need to watch this show. This show, I tell you what, Rod Serling, the way he wrote these episodes, it was brilliant because in the first 3 minutes, you're sucked in. It's just like you can't turn it off. And then another one starts because now you can watch them back to back. They usually do the on New Year's Eve. They do them, and they just suck you right in. It's great stuff, great writing, great acting. All right. So, by the way, if you're online, if you want to give us a call, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. It looked like somebody tried to call, but I'm not sure if that came through. But if you're trying to call, just try again, 855-939-1137, and we would love to take your call. So there's a question online, refinancing question. If you had a mortgage with a 4% penalty for prepayment, would you pay the penalty on $300K to pull out $200K extra? Same interest rate, the value. I can't even understand how I can't understand how he wrote this question. I can't even answer the question because there's so many other details. But if you could, it's the same interest rate. I don't know. So many other details. I can't answer the question.
After reading his question, I'd say my answer would be maybe.
Yeah, maybe, exactly. Yeah, so a lot of times it's funny because people will do that. They'll post on our Facebook groups. We have a lot of Facebook groups, and they post on our Facebook groups. They ask us these questions, and they can't be answered unless we know other things.
Well, here's something I could say to the gentleman or gentle lady who wrote this question is if you want to get a financial education at an advanced level, you should come to Investor Schooling. Because what we do here is we are available to our students 2 nights a week.
Minimum.
Right, minimum 2 nights a week. But there's actually other events that we have. We have weekend events. We have special events. We have different things.
And
right?
in-person coaching.
And imagine that you, in the next couple of months, you find a piece of property you're thinking about buying. If you were a member of Investor Schooling, all you have to do is come here. We're here 2 nights a week to help you with your problems. We can evaluate your deal. We can advise you on your deal. And what a priceless thing. We don't come here and if you've ever been to a real estate presentation, what most of them are about is selling you some kind of package at the end. We don't operate like that. You join our school, you become a member, and you can reside here for a year or so, depending on what you want. And we will help you throughout the entire year, 2 nights a week, plus some other events.
Yeah, and you'll actually learn a lot. You'll learn things that you didn't even know existed. We have students who are saving 15, 20, 30 grand in taxes every year with some of the things that we taught them.
Just go back to 2020 when the SBA was giving loans out.
Yes, the EIDL loans.
How much money did we raise? Not just for ourselves, but for the whole school.
No, yeah, we taught our students how to get money from the SBA. I mean, legally, it was nothing nefarious. We taught them how to get it because nobody even knew that it existed.
Yeah.
And we taught them how to do it. We stepped them through the website. Now, there were people out there who were charging anywhere from 2 to 10% of the amount of money the person got to teach them how to do it. But these were our students. We taught them how to do it.
So let me ask you something. Are you getting a bill from this?
No, I'm concerned about two things. I'm concerned that there's no bill, and one day they're going to come after us and they're going to say, "Okay, now you have to start paying it." Which I realize I'm going to have to pay it one day anyway. But I'm also on the other side. I'm concerned that there might be a bill somewhere and we just don't even know it. That maybe it was an online billing and they never told us. The other side is I'm hoping that they're going to say, "Hey, we're just going to forgive them all."
I've tried to call them multiple times just to find out what the heck's going on.
I know, it's crazy.
And there's nothing. It's nothing there. There's nobody. There's nothing.
Yes. It is a typical government program that no one knows what they're doing. No one knows anything about it. And look, we got the money, and eventually they're going to ask us for it back. And first of all, it was supposed to be 30 years at 3.5% interest rate on 30 years. I'll be really glad if I could make every one of those payments. You know what I mean by that?
No.
I'm hoping I'm alive to make every one of those payments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, sure. If they stretch it out over 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it's awfully nice to get that chunky money.
Yes, definitely. And we used it for some of the right things. First of all, we Investor Schooling used it. If you guys have never been here, you need to come see the technology we use to teach you guys how to do this. It'll blow your mind. So if you want to go to investorschooling.com, you can do that as well. We made it through the whole show without a commercial, Phil.
Yeah, well, you want to keep going?
Yeah, might as well, sure.
Okay. So how much interest does the bank pay you on your money?
Okay. How much interest did the bank pay me on my money? They pay nothing.
Right. Practically nothing.
I mean, by the way, do you know how much interest you get on if you keep $1,000 in a bank account? Do you know how much interest you get?
I'm not sure what I'm getting paid, but I think recently it was double digits, 11 cents.
No, you got 11 cents?
11 cents for a month. I actually thought, wow.
That's impressive. On $1,000?
I don't remember how much.
It must have had to be more than $1,000.
I wasn't paying attention what was in the account.
I just more than
most of the time it's like 4 cents or 5 cents. This time it was 11 cents, so it was like double-digit figures.
Yeah, okay, I
got me excited.
All right, so I'm noticing that calls are coming through. I'm getting indications, but I'm not getting the calls being put up. So I'm not sure if we're getting calls. I'm not sure if there's a technical problem. So I apologize to you guys who are trying to call in. Try again. Maybe we'll get through, but I'm sorry, but if it is what it is. All right, by the way, if you're also online, you feel like asking a question, you can ask the question in the comment section on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. All right. Where do you want to go from here? We got a little bit of time. We don't have to go to stock option something yet. What was one more thing you want to talk about?
Hey, Pedro.
Yes.
We got a bunch of callers who can't get through. So do you have a question you'd like to ask Larry or me?
Where's all this money that people are throwing at you? Because I can't find any.
What are you talking about? The SBA money?
No, he's talking. When I say that there's people throwing money at me, he doesn't. So, all right, Pedro, let's do this. We're gonna have a conversation with you, Pedro. Do you have a house that you're buying right now?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a good deal?
Yes.
Have you explained that deal to at least 20 people?
Yes.
Okay, and every single one of them said what?
To think about it.
All right, so have you followed up with them?
Yeah.
And they're still doing what?
Thinking.
Well, why don't you tell them, hey, I've got 3 other people that want to give me money. I'd like to borrow it from you because I'd like you to make the money on this instead of somebody else. Because it's the truth.
Okay.
If your deal is good and there's no chance that someone can lose their money in the deal, by the way, that's what we teach you. We teach you how to buy deals that when somebody lends you money, they really don't even want you to pay them back because they'll make more money if you don't pay them back than if you do pay them back. So that money will come if you actually have a good deal. Now, sometimes we have problems where we have a situation where the deal's just not good. I mean, if somebody says, I could buy this house it's listed for $100,000 and I could buy it for $90,000 and I want to borrow $100,000 from you. I'm sorry, but that's not a good deal. That's one of the biggest issues that we have with our students when they think they have a good deal. It's just not a good deal. They have to come back and realize that if you're buying a house for $90,000, you're buying it for retail. Go to a bank. Maybe a bank will lend you money. Maybe they won't. But you're not going to get that from a private investor if there's not a good deal. A private investor has to be safe, has to feel safe, right? You borrow money from private investors all the time. I borrow money from private investors all the time. My private investors I never miss a payment because, frankly, I don't want to lose the property.
And you don't want to lose the relationship with the private lender.
Exactly true. All right, let's talk real quick about the stock market since we got about 5 minutes. Holy cow. What a horrible week. And I mentioned it before. If it gets any worse, if this coming week is worse, if it drops this coming week, it's going to be bad. It's going to be the beginning of the beginning of a bear market. Now, I want you guys to understand, so a bear market is a bear market. It is what it is. But a bear market doesn't last long. This is one of the things that people get concerned with is that, we just had a really strong bull market for many, many years, but we had small bear markets in that bull market, including the beginning of COVID, and it will eventually just settle down somewhere, and when it settles down, everything will be just normal. It'll just be normal in that range. I actually believe that the stock market right now, it's at 34,000. It hit over 37,000, I believe, at one time. I believe it's going to settle between 27 and 28,000, and that's where it's going to be, and that's life. It's just going to be that way. The bond market is obviously kicking up, and that's causing some havoc. The Treasury bond is now 1.77, and that's a problem. And the reason it's a problem is because when bond market goes up, people run from stocks. So they put their money in safe places. Gold is moving up, but it's moving up way too slow. I think gold and silver are the place to be right now. And what's happening with crypto? Oh, boy. Crypto is deep doo-doo right now. Bitcoin is down below 35,000. Ethereum is down below 2,400. And it may go further down before it goes back up. If it even goes back up ever again. I still don't get crypto. It doesn't make any sense. All right. Well, you know what?
There's a great documentary on Amazon Prime about crypto. I watched the whole thing, and I think I was more confused at the end than I was at the beginning.
Hey, we got Gary in the line, but Gary, we got to give you 60 seconds. That's all we got for you. The phone system is back up. Gary, what's going on?
How you doing, Sultan? How you doing, Fredo? It's a great year because your advice to be patient on my business in South Jersey, I sold it.
All right, congratulations,
ago,
man.
December 29th, it took 28 minutes. My neighbor bought it, cash deal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
See, we helped this guy. He's a long-term listener, and we helped this guy. We helped him on the radio. He didn't even come into this class. He didn't even pay us.
Yeah, just imagine if he actually showed up at the school, what we could do for him.
Yeah, would you show up at the school now that you got all this money for your business that you sold?
Absolutely.
We'll see you Thursday night, right?
I will try my best. I'll be there with bells on.
All right, well, make sure you're wearing those bells.
You want me to send you an Uber to pick you up?
Listen, get off the phone, you big dope. You know who that is, don't you?
Who's that? Yeah, that was Bob Grant, wasn't it?
No.
Was that Howard Eskin?
It was Mr. Levin.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it was Bob Grant. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way, we got to run because we got to say goodbye to all our listeners. And Gary, hopefully we'll see you. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up. It's all yours, Phil.
It's all me. Okay. Well, thanks to our producer, Henry Mache, and our buddy, Pedro. Good job, Pedro. Don't forget to visit investorschooling.com for your free class this Thursday night at 7 p.m. on real estate investing and stock option trading. That's investorschooling.com. And if you behave yourself, we might, keyword being might, we might invite you to another complimentary class. You can give us a call during the week if you've got any questions, 855-939-1137. See you this Thursday night at 7 p.m., 108 Corporate Drive, Langhorne, Pennsylvania.
All right. Take care, everybody.
This program is a